Of all the animals on our farm, there is none more majestic than the goose. Stately, royal, intelligent. When I watch the geese work around our farm, I am amazed at just how powerful a creature can grow so quickly. Because when I look at a lot of the geese on our farm, just a few short months ago, they were no more than an egg laid by their parents. A goose egg is gigantic. When I think about comparing it to a chicken egg or a duck egg, it really doesn't compare. It's an entire class unto itself. To pick up a fresh goose egg and hold it in your hand, that is an experience unto itself. Either they're sat on by a mother or they're placed inside an incubator for roughly 30 days. The hatcher must be absolutely meticulous in how they care for the egg. They need to ensure the proper humidity. They need to ensure the proper temperature. They need to ensure the proper rotation of the egg, ensuring that the embryo inside the egg is able to properly develop. After roughly 29 days, a change will start to happen. And eventually, you'll notice some pipping when the baby gosling begins to push out of their shell and attempt to break free. The struggle to break free and emerge from the shell can often be a difficult one for a gosling. It's the first test of life. It's the first attempt at doing something difficult and hard. And for that baby gosling who has never breathed a breath until that moment, it's the first time they'd have to expend that effort. And quite honestly, not all of them will make it. But for the lucky few that are able to go from being an egg to a live, breathing gosling, it is miraculous to see them in their first few hours. The first few hours of a gosling's life is spent just trying to keep warm and get used to the world around them. In those first 2 or 3 days, if they're hatched by a mother, they'll usually just spend that time underneath their mother waiting for their brothers and sisters to hatch. If they're hatched in an incubator, the group will often just huddle underneath the heat lamps to stay warm. And it's been my experience that they don't really even begin to start to eat or drink until they've experienced their first 48 hours of life. But once those goslings begin to eat and drink, they become ravenous. Usually I will feed my goslings a mix of chick grower coupled with some brewer's yeast to provide them with the necessary niacin and vitamins that they need to grow and thrive. I also think that in those early days, it's really important to provide your goslings with fresh grass because it's ripping apart and eating that fresh grass that I think nourishes their inner instinct to browse and graze. Unlike ducks or chickens or turkeys, geese are grazing animals. They have more in common when it comes to their diet with a sheep or, say, a cow than they do with a chicken. I love looking inside the eyes of a gosling because I feel like when I look into those gosling eyes, I see so much intelligence staring back at me. Geese are such refined creatures that even at a few hours old, you can see and sense their personality. Those first few days of a gosling's life are spent eating and drinking and sleeping. And it's a constant cycle. They will do it over and over and over again. In a matter of days, they will double in size. In a matter of a few more days, they will triple and quadruple in size. They go from these adorable balls of fluff to little baby dinosaurs in about a week. And by the time they reach day 7 or day 8, they look more like an adult goose than they do a baby goose. And once those goslings have emerged past that first week of life, what I've found is that their health becomes much more robust. I've had a handful of goslings that have failed to thrive and grow in that first week or so, and those goslings never seem to make it. But the ones that do survive and the ones that are strong become almost bulletproof. By the time a gosling is 10 days old, I'm usually trying to get them outside, getting them out on that open pasture, letting them eat fresh grass. I think it's good for them. I also think the sunshine does good for them as well. And so I try to rush them out as soon as possible, ensuring that they have the proper protection from predators as well as the proper heat to keep them from getting a chill. And plus, having the goslings outside allows them to serve as little mini lawnmowers. By the time a gosling is about 4 weeks old, they've become too old to live in the brooder alone, and they start to go outside more and more. Sometimes they'll mix it up with older other geese. Other times they might mix it up with another species of animal entirely. It's a joy to just sit back and observe the goose behavior as they get used to the world around them. And by the time a gosling has reached the 8-week mark, they have morphed into adult geese. Physically, you'll notice that they're a little bit smaller than fully mature geese, but all of their other characteristics seem to match more the adult goose than the gosling that they were just a few short weeks ago. These goslings that are right behind me here, they're now about 4 months old. In about another 4 weeks, I'm gonna begin to sort them, and about half of them will be processed and butchered for food, and the other half will be added to our breeding flock here on our farm. I know that for a lot of folks, the idea of taking a goose that you've hatched from an egg and raised to an adult and then butchered might seem sad. But for me personally, I appreciate it as a part of the cycle of life that happens here on a farm. And I also take comfort in knowing that the birds that have lived here on our farm their entire life, going from that egg to that gosling to that adult, have lived lives that are full, that have let them live like geese, and they really will only have one bad day here on our farm. It's never easy, but it's always necessary, because behind this class of geese that are right behind me here is a whole nother class waiting to be born, to grow up and thrive here on Goldshaw Farm. I hope you guys have enjoyed this quick look at what it's like for a goose to grow up here on our farm. If you want to learn more about other animals on our farm, I'll leave this video link here for you and you can check it out. I think you're going to enjoy it. Thanks for watching, everyone.